We're here at the International Energy Forum, and joining me now, AlHajji with Energy Outlook Advisors. Thank you so much, as always.
You're welcome.
Talk to me about the importance of this dialogue. It's been going on for 10 years now, and we see a lot more people attending, we see a lot more diverse people attending, but how important really is it?
It is very important because those are the organizations that matter at the end. You are talking about OPEC, you are talking about the International Energy Agency, you are talking about stakeholders who include oil companies, including LNG companies, etc. So the exchange of information is extremely important in this case. The problem is we have different definitions, we have different outlooks, we have different views of the market, and therefore when you get together, you can work these differences out and understand what are the sources of those differences.
And over the years, now we're in the 10th year of the Symposium on Energy Outlooks, but over the years we've seen probably a more diverse group of people come here, a bigger group without a doubt, and we're welcoming everybody here. Do you think that also contributes to a stronger dialogue and perhaps a bit more transparency as well?
Well, we already know for a fact that it led to better dialogue and better results. If you look at Jodi and Jodi data, for example, that's the result of that cooperation and the results. There are data in Jodi that does not exist anywhere else. For example, if you look at oil consumption of countries that are not members of OPEC and they are not members of the IEA, but yet they submit their data to the Jodi IEF. So the results are already there, and they are a testimony to the efforts.
Indeed, and I think that dialogue is something that the IEF has also wanted to expand as we look towards the years to come. We've had 4 great years, many great years under the leadership of Dr. Sun, and we're going to have a shift on that. The energy transition, the IEF transition, you know, we're so sad to see him go. His term is up. But how important is it, you know, that the new leader, Joe McMoneagle, who will take over, will really take this now and maybe chart a new course, but look for something new and keep this very dynamic?
Well, for sure, basically, he's going to bring something new for various reasons. He has a diverse background. He had a background in the IEA, in the EIA. He is a lawyer. He's been in the oil business as a consultant, etc. So he's going to bring many new angles to the IEF. At the same time, we know that there are some shortcomings in the data. We have some shortcomings in the way we analyze the data, and I think he will address all of that.
Now, talk to me again about these few days here. The dialogue that we're having, we had with the EU, we have with OPEC, we have with IEA, we're going to have with IRENA. We're looking at clean energy, we're looking at sustainability, we're looking at circular economy. The actual conversation has changed over the years, and in terms of the energy transition, I suppose it moves with the times, and it has always, I think, the energy sector, it has to.
Well, if you look at it, and if you go back to 1974, the IEA was established basically to fight OPEC. And now we are sitting together. So you can see how the conversation changed over the decades and over the years. So the change is already there, and it's visible in the IEA activities.
And I suppose we also have to look at how producer-consumer relationship has changed. The US is now a major producer as well as a major consumer. And indeed, this part of the world that was once just here in the Middle East producers are now very, very active consumers. So I suppose the dialogue has to change and has to address all of that as well.
Absolutely. And I would like to add one more point to what you mentioned. Now we have major consumers like China basically having a say as a consumer, which was not the case before. Even when the US was a large consumer, did not have the same power that China has today. And you look at what's happening with the coronavirus, for example, you can see the impact. So if you look at all those variables, you can see that why dialogue is extremely important, because it solves many problems as players' power changes over time.
And also we look ahead, I think, to the future. We look at the role the IEF can play in terms of keeping this dialogue alive, but also I think the value of energy and the understanding of energy and how people, the consumers, you know, the sort of end user consumer really needs to understand how important perhaps to this transition is and how fossil fuel will be here for a while longer.
Yes, but the main point that consumers should understand through this dialogue basically is if the producers are not doing well, then the consumers are not going to do well. So once all of them are doing well, everyone will do well. It's the fact that lower prices are not good for producers, but they are not going to be good for consumers in the next stage. So this interaction plays a big role here. In terms of fossil fuel and oil and gas for the future, I think that it is going to stay there for a very long time. We already seen the outlooks today from the IEA and OPEC. Both of them predict that by 2040, 2045, oil demand will grow by 10 to 15 million barrels a day from today. So there will be growth and they are going to be there.